Alright, hi, welcome back to Cooking for Everyone. Today I'm going to show you a quick, easy banana bread recipe. And I'll put the recipe down in the description below. And if you got bananas that you don't end up using, you can just throw them in the freezer. Just peels, toss them in there, save them up, make banana bread out of them. So I'm going to peel this up. They're still partly frozen. Doesn't overly matter. Kind of a pain in the butt. You got to make sure that they're slightly thawed before you start working on them. But yeah, so I got my mixer here. Makes it easier. You can use a little hand mixer or whatever. You can probably do this by hand too. I'm just gonna be lazy and use my mixer today. So just make sure you get all the skin off as much as possible. Try to get all the brown stuff. It's not overly gonna matter, but as long as you get all the nice skin off. Oh, there, I missed a piece. There we go. Okay, you can break it up, you can whatever. But we're gonna mash up our bananas. So the recipe calls for 3 bananas to start. You can use fresh bananas too, doesn't matter, but this is a good way to use up ones that you didn't get to. So you can throw them in the freezer for later whenever you can get to it. And so like I said, I'm just gonna make a, and honestly, you want them partially frozen still to peel them, because honestly after you freeze them it makes it easier because they get kind of mushy. But we're making banana bread out of them, so we're going to mash them up, so it really doesn't matter. Alright, so there's 2. And if you see, it's kind of mushy, but hey, it's part of it. So we got some of my ingredients. So we got 3 bananas. This one calls for 3 bananas, 2 eggs, half a cup of oil, a cup of sugar, some all-purpose flour, a little bit of salt, baking soda. There is a difference. The baking soda in there is to help it rise a little bit. That's what's going to give your eggs, and your baking soda is going to give you what it's called leveling, and that's what makes your makes your breads rise. This one's so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get all my, I'm gonna clean that up. Okay, so got our bananas. I'm just gonna break them up quickly in there. And I'm gonna get my bowl. I'll take it. Get my bowl quick, Mexican, what to clean out. That's what I'm gonna use for my dry ingredients. Just measured out. Quick. Okay. So, alright. So put that aside for the moment. So mixer, and if you use a mixer, paddle is the one you're going to need. If you can see that. So I locked my bowl in there. Put that down. Oh, pardon me. Hacking my head off. I'm just talking too much, I think. Anyway, so I'm gonna. So one thing about banana bread, once you peel the stuff, it like goes everywhere. So I cracked 2 eggs. Oh. I don't know if you saw that. Just want eggs, don't want the shells in there. So I can crack 2 eggs in a bowl here. You can add it directly to the mix, doesn't really matter. I'm just going to do this just for show purposes. Anyway, okay, so turn on my mixer. I'm going to start it on a lower setting. It was on pretty high, so I'm going to start it about mid, about 5 on this one. Got the whole locked in there. Just going to mash that up. frozen still. Anyways, turn it up just a little bit faster, just to mash. I also first step with mashing bananas. Okay, almost good there. Okay, we'll take a look. I'll show you. That looks pretty good. Well, you can see that part of it. So you see, so hopefully you can see that. It's all nice and matched up. So we're going to put the bowl back in. Alright, so, whoops. No, it doesn't work that. There we go. Alright, so we're going to mash it down. So next, what we're going to do, we're going to add our wet ingredients and then our dry ingredients. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so I've got my 2 eggs. I'm going to measure out my wet ingredients. So we're going to add our wet ingredients and mix that up some more. So I'm going to turn that down before we start. Turn it back down to about mid-level, about 5. So we got 2 eggs. I'm going to say we needed for oil. And we're going to add our sugar too. Or actually, I'll fix that as I go along. So need 1/2 cup of oil. You just use regular canola oil, a little over, but that's okay. Let's dump that in there. Okay, so we got about 1/2 cup of oil. Alright, like I said, I'm going to measure out all my ingredients and then we're going to go from there. So we got our eggs, we got our oil, and then we're going to add all our dry ingredients to this bowl. So we need a cup of sugar. So try and measure. So we got 1 cup of sugar. And we got baking soda, which is 1 teaspoon. So we're going to add 1 teaspoon baking soda. Let's find out where my teaspoon is. There it is. A little low on baking soda. I gotta buy some more. Well, yeah, level it out. So 1 teaspoon of that. And now you can add this all in there. I'm just doing it to show you what's going on here. And we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then we are going to add our flour to that. And we need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Oops. That's definitely the wrong one. That's a tablespoon of salt. That's way too much salt. And the recipe calls for 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Maybe I should read these before I start pouring, eh? That'd probably be a good idea. Alright, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Alright, so we got a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay, there we go. I said 2 cups of flour, so we're going to add that in there. So, alrighty. So there's 1. This 1 teaspoon. Teaspoon, yeah, that's a cup, not a teaspoon. Anyway, alright, so there's 2. You can sift it, make it a little finer, it's fine, but don't necessarily have to, depending on what your flour is. It's always good to sift it to smooth it out a little bit, just less mixing. Okay, so what we're going to do next is find a towel to dry my hands with. Anyway, okay, so we've got our bananas mashed. So now we're going to add all our liquid ingredients, which seems odd to say, but yeah, eggs are kind of liquid-like, so we're going to add our eggs. And we're going to add our oil in there. I'm going to pop this up just to make it a little easier to get stuff in there. Okay, so now we got all that in there. Put that stuff aside. Okay, so like I said, I might start a little lower. I think I'm going to start it on 2 instead of 5, just to get it combined. Just to combine it so it's not flying everywhere, right? So, and I'm just going to use these nice little bread pans. You pick these up at the dollar store. I think that's where I got these ones. They work great. You can buy the foil tin ones will work fine too. Whatever you want to use. Okay, so I'm going to turn that up and give that a quick mix of 5 for about 30 seconds. It's looking pretty good. Every minute. Alright, so one key thing when you're adding your dry ingredients, you don't want to start on a high level. It's one mistake a lot of people make on electric mixers. So we're going to start on a very low mix, because if you started high, all your dry ingredients go flying, and that's not what you want, and it's just not going to work out. So I'm going to add all our dry ingredients in there. Okay, so we're going to put that in. Like I said, we're going to start on low to get it start combining, so our flour and stuff's not going to go flying everywhere. Right. So once it's like mostly combined, it's kind of a wet mixture. I'm going to turn that up. Give it a nice, up to about 5. So, maybe I'll put my mix down. Not too much screw. Let them mix for about a couple of minutes. So everything's nice and combined and it's kind of batter-like. Alright, so I'm going to stop that there. Alright, so we're going to bring that up. I'm going to take my spatula. Want to make sure that we get everything scrape right down to the bottom of the bowl. It's looking really good, actually. So I hope you can see that. It's actually a nice little batter, banana bread. So I'm going to put that back down. Okay. Oops, I screwed up. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to turn that on for about another 30 seconds, maybe so. So, two things. Still want, we should make 2 of these small ones. We only want to do that. So, okay. Alright. Our batter is done. Which really, whoops, I'm breaking my stuff here. Alright. So like I said, it's a nifty tool to have, but you don't necessarily need it. One of those little hand mixers will do. You can do this by hand too with a spoon. It takes a little bit longer, but it will work. Okay, so I'll get all that nice stuff out of there. I want to make sure to scrape down all that, so get all my nice yummy batter. Looks like really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to bake this in oven at 350, which is a standard oven. I'm going to get this out of our way here so I can work. So yeah, if you see in a recipe something that's a standard oven and you don't know what that means, excuse me, a standard oven is 350. So if you read a recipe, it says standard oven, it's like, what the heck is that? It just means 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you want to grease your pan. So I like Pam for this. You can do it. So I'm going to do one with Pam and one with just some regular oil and a paper towel. So just give it a nice coat. Like, I overdo it sometimes. But yeah, that's what you want. You want it nice and coated, so when you put your batter in there and it rises up, it's not going to stick on you. Okay, so, alright, I got to clean. Oh, I forgot what I did with it. Alright, anyway. I've lost my way. Anyway. Okay, and take a paper towel and do this. I'm just gonna dump a little bit. So let's see. I'm not gonna pour anything out of that. So let's take about a tablespoon of oil. Dump that in. You take a paper towel and move it around. I don't have any right now, so I'm just going to use my trusty kitchen tool, my hand. And just kind of make sure you get, tilt it up. Make sure you get all the sides, the bottom. Just give it a good, just move it around, make sure you get all those edges in there. You can use Crisco to do this. You can use any type of fat just to keep it from sticking. Right, the pound one's nice, got a little bit of flour in it to help prevent the sticking. So, there's our grease pans. So now we're going to add our batter into those, but we're not going to fill them right up. Because if we do, they're just going to overflow on you. Because it's going to rise. It's a bread. It's going to rise. All right, so we're going to fill these both about halfway, 3/4. All right. So we're going to get all our batter into this. Like I said, this recipe will make 2 of these guys. You can make them a little bigger. If you want to use a bigger pan, you can just dump it in. If you got a bigger dish, oh here, I'll work on that in a sec here. Last one. So if you got one about this size, you can dump it all in there because that's only going to fill about half of that. I like to make them a little smaller. I like to make them a little smaller for, when I started making these were for snacks for my kids' lunches, so that's where this started off for me anyway. But it's a great little snack. I've had people that don't really care for banana bread say they really like this recipe. It was a great one that I found. So I'm just gonna want to make sure I get all that nice stuff out of there as much as possible. That's why one of these guys is great to have. You can scrape everything right down. And I'm gonna, okay, so we're looking pretty good there. We can get a little bit more out there, but for now, it is what it is. I was gonna tickle my throat today. So there we go. That's gonna end up funny. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take it, just tap it down. Just kind of smooth it out. Kind of knock out some of the excess air. Just kind of smooth it out a little. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. It'll be out, but I kind of want to give it a little bit of drumming on it. Anyway, So we're going to bake that in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. For about an hour. So it's going to bake in the oven for about an hour. I'm not going to waste your time showing that. I'll show you the finished product when it's done. I'll have to double check my timing, but I'm pretty sure it's an hour. So when it's all done and cooked, I will pull it out, show you, and we'll go from there. All right. I gotta get my oven started and stuff, and we'll get that in here in a minute. Okay, there's my baked. Yeah, they're in the oven for an hour, so I'm gonna take it out. These just came out of there. Uh-oh. I don't think I oiled the pan enough. That one goes. This one. There we go. Yeah, that'll fit. Needs a little more oil. Well, that's okay. There we go. It's banana bread. So now we're going to take a slice off of one of these guys. Cutting board. But yeah, like you said, they just came out of the oven. So they're all warm, I just want to make sure. But yeah, they're looking pretty good. So yeah, I'm just going to let those cool down a little bit. Let me just take it. Make sure that we're good. Oh yeah, beauty. There you go, and there you have it. It's a very simple banana bread recipe. Good way to use up your bananas if you didn't get to using them up. Whatever, it's actually really nice. So, hope you enjoy it. Like I said, I'll put the instructions and the recipe in the description below. Alright, so if there's anything else I can help you with, like, subscribe, put some ideas down in the comments. But until next time, hope you enjoy. Alright, have a good one. Bye.